I hate to break the fishing news after Yaremchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations. You're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Yaremchuk.
Yep. All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
Episode 272 of the Real Life Podcast, Deadline Edition. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. Chalmers is here. Jay's here as well. Wanye, too upset that the Oilers didn't get Taylor Hall, is unable to participate in today's podcast. Bag Milk will be here as soon as Ken Holland is done having a chat with the local media. Deadline day, we're going to get to all that good stuff, including the one move that the Edmonton Oilers made. Before we do that, I have a deadline acquisition that I think every listener should go after. And that is dinner from Oodle Noodle tonight. The price will not be high. And if you go in store or curbside pickup, there will also be a little bit of those proceeds that goes towards local charity. So it's kind of like a 3-team trade in that sense. You get something to eat. Oodle Noodle gets, well, the cost of whatever you order. Local charities also benefit. Oodle Noodle. Find the noodle-related memes at Oodle Noodlegram on Instagram as well. Jay, deadline day, you're busy. You were live already on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. But I will say this, very, very boring trade deadline.
Yeah, it was. We had to fill in the gaps quite a bit. But yeah, very boring trade deadline. But what did we expect? It's a weird season, right? So it's you weren't going to see too much. You know, there was some big stuff. How about the Caps there right at the tail end, getting Mantha and trading Verana, one of like their top young guys?
I can't believe that. That was, I mean, the most stunning move of the deadline was without a doubt what we believe to be now the final move of the deadline, because the Caps dealing Jacob Verana, who has 25 points in 39 games. It's Anthony Mantha going back the other way. I think like Richard Panik's in that deal to make the money work, but Anthony Mantha, 21 points in 42 games doesn't sound great. But you look back, this is a guy who has basically scored, 24 goals, 25 goals. Last season, he was at easily a 25 goal pace as well. Like, this dude's legit, and he's a big body. I think he makes them harder to play against.
Massive body, and that's, yeah.
Like,
Caps
him and
trying to
Ovi,
go for it.
Whew, yeah, I think the Caps are trying to go for it. We should start with the Kulikov deal, though, before we get into, like, maybe what the Oilers...
Why would we talk about the Oilers trade? Why?
Not a fan?
I'm kidding. Oh, fuck, I don't care. It was like a in the sense of we needed to get some help on the left side, and they went and got a left defenseman. So
you know what
is it the solution? I don't know.
You know what I think is more of an overarching thing for this trade deadline as opposed to the actual trade of Kulikov, which we will talk about in a second. But it's interesting because I'm kind of reading what Ken Holland is saying, and this year's kind of funny because it's so much easier to be transparent as to what you can do due to the fact that you're going to be playing one of 3 teams, right? And he's even made the comment, like, we know who we're going to be playing in round 1 or 2, right? If we make it to the second, usually in any other year, it could be one of 7 other teams, right? So you have a less opportunity to really like build your team out comparative to what is coming. And I find that very interesting. And maybe that might be why, maybe we didn't do as much as we could have when we see other teams, like Toronto really bulking up. But that's kind of like what the one interesting thing I found out about this trade deadline. But as far as Kulikov, I mean, for a guy like me, I don't know too much about him. I'm going to be quite honest with you. Big D, do I think we needed defensive help? Yeah. Do I think we needed forward help? Yeah. Would I like to see a forward come? Yes, but we didn't. So talk to me. What should I be thinking?
I think Kulikov's an upgrade on Russell and Lagesson, and defensively he's an upgrade on Jones. Maybe not puck moving wise or as a complete defender. Like, there's reasons to like Jones more. But like we're seeing right now, Ken Holland is saying Slater Cuckoo could be back or he's expecting him back in May. And I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, well, if you have Cuckoo, Jones, Larson, Russell on the left side there, could you have taken that 4th round pick and maybe gotten forward help with it? You wouldn't have gotten anything good. Like, Kulikov is a decent NHL defenseman. You probably could have gotten a decent NHL centerman for that price as well. So there's a part of me that kind of goes, maybe I would have rather seen Ken Holland go out and get a forward with that asset, but I mean, come playoff time, we all know injuries hit. Like, remember in 2017 when they were going into, a must-win playoff game against the Ducks, and it was like fucking Griffin Reinhart on the blue line. Like, if one or two guys get hurt, you want solid veterans waiting in the wings. And I think Kulikov's going to be an everyday guy, but that just means Russell is now the veteran waiting in the wings. And, Lagesson can jump into the lineup. It gave them defensive depth, and in the playoffs, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not upset by it. There's a few ways to view this, right? Okay, so I want to just provide perspective though on Kulikov. He was on the Winnipeg Jets last year.
Yep.
Winnipeg Jets, their biggest issue is defense.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a guy they let walk who didn't go sign for a lot of money in New Jersey. So that was either a function of him not wanting to be in Winnipeg or Winnipeg just being like, he's not a fit for us. So that's just something to consider. That's just adding a different perspective. I don't think it's it's not going to hurt us. And, we didn't give up too much. But the reality is for this season, and this is the unfortunate situation that we're in, is we didn't have a lot of trade capital unless we wanted to use one of our big dog prospects, which we want to try to avoid at all costs. So we, it's tough to address all the holes we need to fill, right? We need, left shot D, we need third line center, and we need top 6 scorer left winger. Like, to go to market, like, you got to spend a significant amount of assets for that. And frankly, unless we're willing to give away the big dogs, it didn't make sense for us to do it because we don't have any picks in this draft. So, part of you should be excited that we stayed somewhat idle and we did something kind of depth to address one of our holes. And should be excited that next season we're going to have cap space.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have draft capital to really go and make big moves. So it's like, okay, I'll ride the wave of like, we didn't make a big splash this time because we didn't really have what we need to go out to spend and to get shit. But we better see some action over the next 12 months.
I think we will.
I think we will too. So, so then we have to ask ourselves as Oilers fans, what's a successful season for us this year? Is it getting to the second round? Yeah. Like, is that a successful season? The one that
I think it has to be.
Did the things. Yeah.
I think it absolutely has to be at this point. Like, I'm kind of, the writing's on the wall. I mean, one of the teams in the North Division absolutely bulked up to win now and gave away, a little bit of their future. A lot. They did. And, would it have been smart to try to match that just to meet them in the second round and see where the chips fall? As somebody who wants to see a team that can win right now all the time, I'd say, yeah. But when you look forward, you look in the future and you think about how long we have with McDavid and Connor and just like the team that we're building and Bouchard coming up and shit. Like, I'm not disappointed one bit. Mm-hmm. Maybe what I'd like to see, like a guy, like we just would have got to give it away a lot. I just that Foligno deal, like that, them getting
that price tag was too much.
Huge, man. Well, of course it was. Of course it was.
I would love to have him as an Oiler. Love to.
Yeah, I mean, every team would love to have him. He's been a captain. He's tough. He's a goal scorer, and it's just, he's just like one of the perfect all-around players. But would you have liked to see us get a guy like, I don't know, Eric? Name an older vet that we could have maybe got for without giving away too much.
Sure, Eric Stahl would have been. They didn't have the picks to match it, but you would have had to give up something for him. Yeah, I don't know. I just. I guess
I wish, like, the fan of me wants us to make tons of moves, right? I guess maybe I wish just like Chalmers said, we got a forward maybe as well, like just even a depth guy just to say we did it. I think that would have made me feel a little bit more excited.
Yeah. And that's fair. I think on deadline day you always want to be excited with what your team's doing, but I just think, again, I don't want to sound like an Oilers apologist or like I'm trying to stand up for Ken Holland. This wasn't the time for me. And look around the league. There weren't a lot of moves being made. The Oilers didn't have a lot of cap space to make something happen. They didn't have a lot of picks. Like Toronto, because they kept all their picks recently, had the luxury of, okay, we're going to get Foligno, but we're giving a fourth away in the process just so someone else takes more of his money and it's no cap hit on us. And we have our first round pick to trade, but it's fine because we have our second still. And like, they had that ability, whereas Edmonton just simply didn't. And if you're disappointed in Ken Holland right now loading up, he's in year 2 of his deal. I think it's okay for him to, maybe be slow playing it this year. Last trade deadline, he went all in, man. He pushed in chips. He went and got Athanasiou, who pre-pandemic we thought was going to be a long-term fit with his organization. He went and got Mike Green. He went and brought in Tyler Ennis. He did a lot at last year's deadline. And you can't do that every single year because eventually you run out of ammunition. It's not unlimited. So could he have gone out this year and said, yeah, the second in Caleb Jones, it's going out for Taylor Hall, and we're going to pay a 3rd round pick for someone to keep $4 million as well, and we're going to make it work? He could have, but that hurts you going forward a little as well if it doesn't work out this year. And I just think if you're mad at Ken Holland now, wait 3 or 4 months and then decide. Because if he goes out at the draft and in free agency and he makes some big signings and he makes some big splashes, then he could even be heading into next year with assets to spend and a rather loaded up team. And I just don't think people should be jumping down his throat right now being like, fuck this. He wasted a year, McDavid. They're going to the playoffs and they're likely playing the Jets in the first round, who also didn't do a lot at the deadline, basically did exactly what Edmonton did. And Edmonton's beaten them this year. Edmonton can beat Winnipeg. So there's a real chance the Oilers go at least to the second round here. And then you never know what's going to happen. So I just don't get all the anger towards Ken Holland.
Yeah, I don't get the anger either. But what I do see, and it might be the same frustration that I find, is I'm sick and tired of waiting for the guys at the bottom of our lineup, the forwards at the bottom of our lineup, to step up and fucking do something. Like, you guys gave Gaetan Oz all this praise that one show. And I was just thinking to myself, this is off of one good goal. Like he's supposed to be so fast. He doesn't blow the doors off anybody. He can't muscle his way to the net. I'm watching Jujhar Khaira kill penalty. I'm just not satisfied with about 4 or 5 players at the bottom of our roster who I just wait to see one thing, just, that one thing that I can take and say, okay, there, he's at least like giving it the go. We don't score. We don't do anything effective unless our top 2 lines are on the ice. And when they're not, it's painful to watch. And you get your odd goal off the ass of Devin Shore, and it's just not enough. It's not enough. And I'm just kind of like, I don't know how we win in the playoffs like this.
Well, that line of Shore that's now just starting to find its stride. Shore, Archibald, and
Archibald
and
is the only one that shows me anything with his tenacity. He gives it. He's the only one of that bottom 6 that I can say that guy, it has something.
Those three as a line will be good in the playoffs. They do play good. Jujhar is.
What tells you that? We've just watched, 40 games? How many games is
that line? That line's only like 4 games old. And like they were awesome in Montreal, awesome in Ottawa. Obviously, no one was good last game for a good reason. So like that's something to at least have some promise with. The big issues is like guys like Zach Cassian just turning into ghosts. Like, these are guys that we need to step up.
And that's what I was going to say. What could end up being, in a weird way, the biggest deadline acquisition or addition for the Oilers is if Zach Cassian finds a way to become the Zach Cassian we saw in the 2017 playoffs. If they get that guy in their lineup and not whatever we're seeing in a 44 jersey right now for the Edmonton Oilers, if they get legitimately effective, hard-nosed, energetic offense, a little bit of offense in the bottom 6, if they get that from Zach Cassian, that bottom 6 is going to look a lot better than it does right now. But I agree, they have too many passengers in that area right now. Kind of why I wouldn't have minded if they went out and got a centerman just to mix up the look a little bit. But I still think, I've said it before on this podcast, I think there's still potential there. Like, I think Shore can be useful. Archibald is useful. Cassian has the potential to be useful. Jujhar Khaira is having a really, really good year. Like, I don't know. I think there's upside there. I understand.
Just how long are we going to just like ride them on their potential though? Like, we've seen Chason's potential.
Yeah.
He used to score a goal every 3 games on the power play with that one move where he gets in the top of the crease, spins and puts it far side. I haven't seen it fucking once. It's like, they're not doing it anymore. And it was the other, there's lots of stuff like that with the power play. I cannot understand why they don't they always move Draisaitl and McDavid around. I get moving the power play around, but like, Draisaitl can just do what Ovechkin does on that one side, on his off wing, and just fire one-timers. Why isn't he just stationed there? You know what I mean? Like have McDavid moving around, chase on in front of the net. You know, we're just not seeing it. It's like, fuck, man, like this stuff worked. I just don't, I'm potential on chase on. That just seems like a fucking fool's errand right now to be looking at that and thinking that's going to be, you know, what to look forward to in the playoffs. I don't think Chase on is a guy I have like high hopes for in the playoffs. I think Cassie and Archibald Kara are the three, but that still leaves you. Yeah. And with Cassian, like, you know, he didn't fight like 3 games ago and he had only been back for like 2 games or whatever. Mm-hmm. And like, I hope that he's like building himself up to becoming 100% again. Yeah. And that's when, you know, it really kicks in for him and he does become the Cassian that can win a game by not even scoring a goal. And that is just by being out there and intimidating and making other teams play differently. You know what I mean? That's what I'm really hoping. And that's the one thing that I think can actually happen. But do I think like Gaetan Haas is all of a sudden going to him on a line with 2 other dudes are just going to like figure out the cycle and become stronger on the puck in the corner? I haven't figured that out by now. You're not figuring it out. It's just, they're play killers in my point right now. Yeah, it's hard to argue against the fact that the Oilers are a like top heavy team. Like that's kind of how they are. But I still think with the way they're constructed now, they can give the Winnipeg Jets a hell of a run in round 1 of the playoffs. I think with the addition of Kulikov, their blue line has the potential to be really good for them in the playoffs. Another area that quite frankly scares the shit out of me is like, you're going in with the same goalies you had going into last year's playoffs. I just, you know, and that's just like one of those things where it's like, what can we say about it? Right? Like, what can we say about it? There's nothing. Well,
but Mike Smith, but like, what has Mike Smith done to not make you feel confident in him going into the playoffs?
No, it's not him. Yeah,
like he's earned the right. Like he's earned the right for Holland not to get a goalie this season. Now in the offseason, we need a goalie. Yeah, and that's fair. But is there still not a part of you that's like a little bit nervous about the goalies heading into the playoffs? We got other issues. Exactly. And you know what? I think this conversation we're having right now just goes right back to reinforce why Ken Holland didn't go out and give up gobs of future assets for a rental. Because we're sitting here and I'm nervous about the goaltending. Chalmers is nervous about the bottom 6. Like there's holes with this team. There's not just one thing you need to fix, right? Like Tampa Bay can go out and give up a 1st-round pick for David Savard because they look at their blue line and go, one more impact right shot guy probably helps us win another Stanley Cup because our forward group is solid. We have one of the best goalies in the league. Toronto can push their chips in because they look at the standings and go, look at that. We're pretty clearly the best team in our division. Our path to a Final Four will never be easier than it is this year for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Edmonton can't say that. Yep. No, it's you know, and I understand the statement because I've had meetings all morning, and of course, trade deadline talk comes up, and I don't know, I don't go on your guys' message boards, but I'm sure that the public sentiment is we didn't do enough. We're not going to be good in the playoffs now, and Toronto. It's frustrating to look at the team to beat in your division and watch them get way better while you stand pat. And I get that. I do get that. But I think the words of caution, if I'm understanding Yaremchuk correctly, is it's better for the long term what we did today. And let's try and understand that and not go crazy, because I still like Ken Holland. I still think he's, the best GM we've had in some time. And I think we'll reap the benefits of it in the next year. But that's always tough to explain to people who it's hard in the moment. Yeah. And we haven't even touched on not getting Taylor Hall. Should wait until I give some love to our friends at Twig and Berries, because I know the Halsey thing is going to sidetrack us hard. twigandberries.ca. They got a new website up right now. Everything looks good. Everything looks fresh, just like their very own line of nutsack underwear. Again, new website, but everything's the same. Promo code's Nation15 gets you 15% off. Free shipping in Canada on orders over $100 as well. They got some great new arrivals up on the site. twigandberries.ca, promo code Nation15. Okay, yeah, let's do this. Let's get into the Halsey thing, because Ken Holland came out today and basically said they weren't in on Taylor Hall. And it is probably, like, in my time covering the Oilers, being an Oilers fan, has there been anyone or anything more divisive than the Taylor Hall conversation? Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I'm wondering if there is. Probably not, man.
Not that I can remember.
Definitely in like the last 15 years.
Maybe Ryan Whitney could come close. Just what happened with him.
Yeah, I don't think I'd say it's divisive.
People didn't give as much of a shit. People didn't give as much of a shit about Schultz and Whitney. Like
maybe the Dustin Penner offer sheet.
Ooh.
Did that piss off people?
But that didn't linger for as long. Like this Hall conversation's been happening for years. And like, there's just so many people on either side of the extreme where there's one end.
Smitty trade.
But everyone hated the Smitty trade, didn't they?
Yeah, that's true. That united us.
So with the Hall thing, there's one side who like, I swear they would rather have Taylor Hall than Connor McDavid. Like anything to get the guy back, are convinced he's the missing piece, all of this stuff. And then there's the other side, which is just as insane. And it's the people who are like, fucking cancer, hate him. I hate him for this reason. No team can win with him. And I look at the one argument and I'm like, he's probably not that missing piece. He's a piece you maybe get when you are looking to load up and add to your championship caliber team. That's what I view Taylor Hall as, like a high end complimentary player he can drive play, but he's really good playing with other skilled players. He can do that. The other side where people are just like, he's fucking useless. He's a bum. I hate when they use the word cancer too. That just rubs me the wrong way. Like he's not that, no matter what people will try to convince you. Like the truth isn't in either of those two extremes for me. He's a really good NHL player and Boston got him on a bargain of a price. He's going to help. He's going to outperform what they gave up for him. I have no doubts about that. But
I would, go ahead.
That doesn't mean I wanted the Oilers to pay that price.
Well, remember, like Taylor had so Holland said they were not in it at all.
Yeah, he said they weren't involved. Okay. I can get his exact quote here in just a second.
Because we were just hearing speculation that we were one of the three teams. So Hall kind of had control because he got to pick where he wanted to go. So it kind of forced his GM's hand as to which offer he takes. So yeah, the fact that we weren't in on it, is that disappointing? Maybe. Would a Hall of wave to come here? Maybe. But what would we have, had to given up? And for us to go and make that acquisition, removing, what people think of Taylor Hall and which camp you sit on, whatever we would have to offer to make it would have to ensure that he's re-signing with us.
Yeah.
You know what Taylor Hall was for me? It's like when we get invited to a kid's birthday and we go there and I'm in the middle of my diet and I'm doing really, really great. And before I get there, I say, I'm not going to eat the pizza. I'm not going to sit there and graze on the desserts. I'm not going to eat that stuff. I'm going to go and do everything I can. I don't want them. I don't want that pizza. I don't want that dessert. But then the pizza and the dessert are there and everybody else is having it. And then it's gone. And I'm mad that I didn't have any. I wish I would have had some. I didn't want him. I fucking hate him, to be honest with you. I'm in the camp of I fucking dislike this person with all of my hockey being. And when we didn't get him, I was kind of like, you know what? We could have used them. This is stupid. What are we doing? And it's so annoying. And I hate that I think it because, and then guys are like, yeah, he would have really could you imagine him on the line with Connor? And I'm going, yeah, now I can. Now I want it.
Damn it.
There's none left.
The pizza had what on it?
The pizza had
shit. That was ice cream cake. Fuck.
You guys all look so happy eating this fucking ice cream cake, and now I'm not having any. So that's what I went through today. I don't know, and I hate myself for doing it.
I'm kind of guilty of that too, Charles. Because I was coming to peace with the fact that I'm like, I think we're gonna get him. So now I gotta be excited about it, even though it's against my core values to want to have him on this team.
Yeah.
So we put out a tweet saying what do people think about not going for Taylor Hall and respond with gifts. And I had the Matrix dodge the bullet gift because I think we did.
Very, very witty. Very witty.
I think we did because the market set the price also that's they didn't give up a lot. That is a sheer rental deal if there ever was one. So if we really wanted Taylor Hall, the time to get him is actually going to be in the off season.
So my gift,
who still want the cake that didn't want it, didn't know they wanted.
My gift would have been the one with the guy looking back at the girl when he's walking with the other girl.
That's a meme, but not a gif. But fair.
True. True. Yeah, show my age there. Okay, that's the meme I would have put on your Yaremchuk.
But yeah, I'm not surprised. And honestly, there's so many people today who are just down Holland's throat about what a failure this was and how he didn't do it. And there's a part of me that goes, if that wasn't Taylor Hall on the market, if the big name everyone was chasing this year was Mike Hoffman, or if the big name was, I don't know, whoever, name a high-end winger. If it was anyone but Taylor Hall, I don't think fans would be this mad. Like, no one's freaking the fuck out that they didn't get Nick Foligno.
No, because there's still trauma. There's still trauma. There's still trauma about the original Hall trade. So there's still those people of that side. I think that trade was horrific. They would love nothing more than to get him back. And sure, you're entitled to think that way. I'm not of that camp.
My view on Taylor Hall has nothing to do with how he was when he left or when he was here or anything to do with that. It's totally just the sight test. Like when you see a person and you just think to yourself, that is a guy I just would not want to be around. And I had the moment, I don't want to say the pleasure or opportunity. I saw Taylor Hall a couple times out in public and was able to interact. And you just got the vibe from him that this guy was a douchebag. You felt it. And that kind of guy in a dressing room polarizes things. You know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. Maybe. I know everybody in here has played hockey in some sort of level. We all know a guy like that in our dressing room. And we all know that guy can create divisions. We just know that. We've all seen it. And that's my feeling on the guy, right? Like that's just, and a lot of people might not have that feeling, but I didn't give a shit about the way he left. But I'm imagining that all stemmed from the type of person he just inherently is.
We got Bag Milk in the chat again here. I texted him and said, hey man, if you want to hop back in and give us some takes, feel free, because you were covering the Holland presser. How long did I not notice you were in the waiting room for?
Probably 5 minutes, I think.
Wow.
That
is on me, guys.
Yeah, I was just I was waiting, and then I posted an article by Brownlee. I'm helping Gregor out with some stuff, and I was just like, I look at the clock, I was like, oh, I guess we're over. I'm not in this one. That's okay.
No, it's not.
You're here now.
We need you.
We've basically just been talking deadline here. What do you think of Kulikov being the only move?
I mean, I tweeted this, and there's a lot of people mad at me right now, but this was exactly what I expected. You look at the Oilers in terms of what they had for available assets to spend. You look at what they had for cap space, and it's just like, what did you really expect them to do? Tyler, I was texting you on the weekend as I was putting together my live blog for today. It's not like the Oilers were ripe with prospects and picks to trade to try and add and bolster. Because here's the reality I think of, based on interacting with some on my account and on the Nation's account right now. We are a city that very, very much overvalues some of our prospects, I think. And I just don't believe that the Oilers really had all that much to sell to try and make the team better. Let's be honest. Nobody fucking wants Alex Chase on at 2.25. No. Nobody wants that. Cooper Marody is not moving the dial in terms of prospects. He could be maybe a nice add-in or something like that. But outside of the first round pick this year and next, what did they really, really have that people would trade? I'm on Leafs Nation right now, looking at everything the Leafs did. They moved out prospects. They moved out a ton of picks. The Oilers didn't have any of that. So this was exactly what I expected.
Well, and the prospects that we have, you don't want to move, like the certain ones. Yeah. Right?
You're not selling Broberg. You're not selling Bouchard. You're not selling Raphael Lavoie. Like, they've got such a small amount of prospects that actually have value. You're not touching those. Or they're young guys like Kailer Yamamoto that's already playing in the NHL. So this was clear as day to me that the Oilers weren't going to do very much. And I think for me, the surprise is how surprised some Oilers fans are about it.
Yeah, I get that we talked about this earlier. I get that it's upsetting to watch your team sit on their hands on deadline day, but I agree. We were set up for this. There was no substantial talk from real insiders at all over the past 3 weeks that the Oilers are in on this big name. You never heard that. You got the random ass, Doug McLean says the Oilers are interested in this superstar, and everyone would kind of go, no, they're not. I don't know. Yesterday I kind of got the sense that, maybe there is a chance that like the Oilers go in for Taylor Hall. I was hearing a little bit of stuff, and then it was quickly shot down by Rashog, and it was like, no, they're not. So I agree with you. I don't know why people are so stunned that this is how it played out. I don't get it.
It's because we hope. We
always hope. And like, here's the thing
that's
I think
part of it.
I think that Ken Holland said it in the press conference, and I'm looking at the nation's feedback right now, and he is getting absolutely lit up for it. But I completely understand. He's like, last year I spent a lot of future. I'm paraphrasing, of course. Last year I spent a lot of futures in terms of picks and players. It didn't work out because of the pandemic. So this year I didn't have as much to move. And it made complete sense to me, but he is getting roasted for it, especially also where he said, I don't think you can go all in every single year. I mean, I think there's probably something to that. And I think that it's weird for Oilers fans too, because we have a GM right now that is very, very patient and very, very tactical in terms of making moves. At least it seems like, whereas we came from Pistol Pete, he's fucking shooting from the hip, trading for anchors all over the place. And I don't know that many people expected somewhere in the middle with those two guys quite as much as we get from Holland. But again, this was just very, very obvious to me. Actually, in terms of what they did get done, I don't know why a lot of people are upset about Kulikov. I think that he's going to be a nice depth defenseman that could, you put him and Larson together, they're not going to move the puck all that great, but they're going to be able to shut things down well. I think the Oilers still have a very sizable problem defending. They added more depth. They're going to get Cuckoo back ahead of the playoffs. They needed some space for that. Ken Holland talked about that too. So
yeah, we're going to move Barry to forward.
Yeah, they're gonna have so many defensemen that they're gonna become the first team to dress 9 forwards and 9D. That'll be the new plan.
It was so obvious to me that the Oilers weren't going to do anything, and
yeah,
it sucks to see my fellow Oiler fans kind of as rattled as some of them are right now.
Is this new to you?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. But it's just like every year we have this sky high expectation of something happening at the trade deadline, and it just never happens. And
I think you just want to be the team that wins the deadline day. And right now we're looking at the team that won it, in my opinion, is in the North and is a team we have to beat to get through to the Final Four, and
that you're really high on Foligno. Hey,
I'm high on Foligno. I'm high on the fact that they got goaltender help if one of their guys was to go down. You don't think that was a nice little insurance policy?
No, they have 3 goalies already. They have Hutchinson, they have Campbell, Anderson, and then Hutchinson, and now Riddick's
Anderson ain't going to be
right in there. Anderson will be ready. I don't know. I don't love what the Leafs did.
I think it's also
how
interesting.
Can you not love what the Leafs did?
I love Foligno. I think
here's the thing, not love what they did.
I like Foligno too, but if the Oilers traded their first round pick for Nick Foligno, people would be fucking melting down.
Yeah, but we're not ready. You do that in an all-in scenario, and that's the thing. Like what Ken Holland just signaled to us is that we're not ready for this year to sure, we can go and surprise people. Maybe we go on a deep run. And if we do, trust me, we're going to be there and we're going to be cheering our asses off. But the reality is next season is really when the party starts. And that's because we have assets. We've got share capital, and it's time. We can do some signings to address some of our depth and lineup roster issues, to then make that all-in move, that all-in added layer, find next season's Taylor Hall to come in to go do all that. So to add that supreme, elite scoring depth that we need. So it's fine. It is fine. Either we needed to address too much this deadline with not having enough in our wallet to spend, and we have to be okay with that. So we're still talking about the Oilers being in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
We're going to have playoff hockey, Oilers fans. We've been deprived of this for so long. So let's celebrate that. Let's see if the boys can surprise us.
Do we all, if we're making our predictions, do we all see a second round Oilers Leafs series right now?
The Jets are going to be a handful. The Jets will be a handful. You have to respect the Jets. You do.
And also
you're the one that said you didn't want to see the Jets, and I
let's say Toronto.
I don't want to see Toronto either now.
Yeah, I know, but that's
Toronto plays Montreal. Montreal is not going to be a gimme either.
Nope.
None of the teams in the North Division that make it are going to be a gimme. So it's going to come down to, listen, if Connor and Leon get hot going into the playoffs, good fucking luck. It's just, but I don't think there are any gimmies in this division. And I think that the Oilers are more than one player away from being a legitimate contender. So if they had gone quote unquote all in to get a guy for the left wing I wanted a second line left winger to play in that spot too. But like, was that going to be what puts them over the top, or would it be better to kind of sit there, look at it, reassess in the summer when you have all this money available and you have all your picks heading, for a renewed season? The plan made more sense to me than
you seem like you're kind of done with Oilers fans right at this very moment. They're begging milk, are you? You at your wit's end with the pricks?
No,
pricks.
Never.
Hey, we're all a bunch of pricks. We're all pricks here, okay?
No, never.
We all don't have to sit there and subject ourselves to that shit. So
there's no conversation is what I'm like when I can have this chat with you guys, but whenever I say I'm not surprised that the Oilers didn't do anything, I wanted them to, of course I do. But when I say I'm not surprised, man, I just get fucking dummied on the internet right now. It's just like, what are we talking about? Are we looking at the same situation here? Because it doesn't feel like we are. So am I tired of it? No. Is trade deadline one of those days where it's a little bit annoying? Yeah. Because if you go back to last year, this morning I'm putting together the live blog and I'm reading last year's live blog to see. I was like, oh, what did I write about this? What did I write about that? And last year, Ken Holland, quote unquote, went all in. He got Athanasiou, he got Ennis, he got Mike Green, and people were pissed off about that last year too. So like, what the fuck? I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do in terms of watching it. Maybe you just let the house burn down and throw a pail of water.
Well, the good news is we've got 5 days to talk about it until we play again. What the hell is going on with this schedule?
COVID, baby.
But what I don't get. Were there supposed to be Vancouver games in there?
Yeah, they're supposed to be Vancouver twice this
I
week.
thought I heard that they're cut like that. Okay, what's the latest on Vancouver right now from your guys' world?
They are expected to come back and return to play Friday against the Oilers.
This Friday?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the game we have. We play Montreal Friday and then Vancouver Saturday. Nope, my bad.
Yep, that is your bad. I'm waiting for you to figure it out here.
Yeah, no, we
Friday against Calgary. Friday against Vancouver.
So Chalmers, just so you know, Vancouver like 10 days ago got whacked with COVID. And
yes, buddy, I know that.
We're supposed to play them twice this week.
Yeah,
and we can't. But now they're coming back online on Friday.
Vancouver Friday, then we got Winnipeg Saturday, and then we got Montreal Sunday.
What? We don't play 3 games in a row. What
yeah, what the fuck?
Monday.
Where are you looking?
Oh my God.
The score. It's not the best. I keep
go to the NHL schedule and you'll see.
No, I'm not doing that. It's Monday. It's Friday, Saturday, Monday.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting game against Vancouver. I didn't know they were playing Vancouver on Friday. It's going to be an interesting game. Like, who fucking knows what team is going to show up?
Well, also, I'm a little bit nervous about them playing the Canucks. Like, is there not a part of you that just goes like, this variant like doesn't seem like you want to mess with it? And I know they're going to take all the precautions, but like, I don't know. That still just makes me nervous. Like rolling into Vancouver at this time, like
they'll be. Trust me, they'll be certain come game time that it's safe.
I could 100% see it getting postponed again.
So could I.
Yeah.
And it's just like, don't the Canucks have to play something stupid like 20 games in 30 days or some shit like that?
Yeah. Why they're even bothering doing this when the season from now till the end is like largely pointless is beyond me. Like, fuck. You know who the 4 playoff teams are. We pretty much know what the first round matchup is. And the first round matchup is also exactly what the TV networks wanted. Like Sportsnet couldn't have picked 4 better matchups a month ago. I know they probably would have liked Edmonton, Calgary, but
Edmonton, Calgary, yeah.
But you're getting 2 Eastern teams and 2 Western teams. Like for TV scheduling, for all that shit. This is like exactly what Sportsnet would have wanted. I'm surprised that they're going out of their way to make sure the Canucks play all 56 games when like it would be pretty easy to just say, you know what, Vancouver, take another week off and you guys are getting some games wiped off your schedule because it doesn't fucking matter. You're not making the playoffs. I just don't understand the risk.
Well, at the time that we play them, they will be 5 games behind us for games played. That's not an insurmountable amount. I mean, I think that's a bit crazy to think that they should just call the season because they're 5. Like Montreal's only played 1 more game than them. By the time we play them on Friday, Montreal will have played two more games. They'll be 3 games ahead of them.
Okay.
Games played.
Edmonton right now, like
That's
we
42.
can, I hate that I hate having to do math on the podcast, but I will attempt to do it.
I would like to
Why?
watch your math.
Yeah.
I like your math.
Why do you not like doing math on the podcast?
I like Tyler.
Yeah,
math.
do it.
I'm a
Okay.
big Tyler math guy.
Just let me give her here. The Oilers have 52 points right now. They have
Hang on, I'm gonna write this down.
Okay.
Yeah,
Egg milk will fact check.
double check.
We're gonna.
And a new episode of Yaremchuk math right now. The Oilers have 52 points.
Yep.
If they go 500 in their final 14 games, they will accrue 14 more points.
Hang on. 1 second. 7 times 2. I'm gonna check that.
Not 14,000 points.
No.
7 times 2
Let me
is
do
14.
it, and then you can mock me if I'm wrong. That
All
means the Oilers will have 66 points at the end of the season.
Hang on.
Right.
Yep.
Right now, the Vancouver Canucks have 35 points. So that means if the Oilers go 500 for the rest of the year,
66 points.
the Canucks would need to get 21 points in their 31 points. The Canucks would need 31 points in their final 19 games to catch the Oilers. That means they would have to go 15-3-1 just to catch the Edmonton Oilers.
For anybody that doesn't know, JR left.
Yeah, JR couldn't do it.
Well, it
But
was
I'm right on
riveting.
that.
It
If
was
the
riveting,
Oilers
and
go-
I'm also out.
If the Oilers go 500 from here on out, the Canucks would have to go 15-3-1 to catch them.
Yes, but it's not. They're
it's
not
over.
trying to catch. They're not trying to catch us. They're trying to catch the Montreal Canadiens, who have 1 game in hand and
Are
8
points up.
8 points. Yeah, that's.
So
My
even if
audio
they win
cut
the
out.
game
I
in hand,
missed
that's
all the
6
math.
points. The Vancouver's not catching anyone. That's my point.
Bag milk, was it accurate?
As far as I could tell.
Playing,
as far as I could tell,
playing a
it's accurate.
shitty team like Vancouver could really help us if we have
Well,
more
we
games
want home
scheduled
ice.
against Vancouver
We won home ice.
comparative to somebody else who might play. Like,
Why?
What if Toronto? What if Winnipeg has already played Vancouver its amount of times, and we could play them like 4 more times and get those points and get home ice? It's not just a throwaway. You have to admit that.
Home ice.
Home ice is important.
It's not as important as it might be in years past. Getting last change is big though, but you're getting last
sleeping
change
in your own bed,
Yeah, sleeping in your own bed.
cuddling your dog.
for game 7, right? Because that's the only difference. You also get to play in your own barn for game 6. There's benefit there. I don't know. I don't think this year home ice is as important as it is in years past.
I think it is because you get last change.
Oh yeah, last change. There you
Last
go.
change
Boom.
for a potential game 7. Yeah, okay. Like that's the importance, but I'm just
and home DJ. Home
Yep.
DJ. That's
Johnny
important.
Infamous. Yes, that's a
Yep.
big part of this for the Edmonton Oilers. Okay, yeah, that's fair. Right now, while we were doing that, I got a little distracted because I decided to do like an Oilers. Yeah, hey, you don't say. I decided to do like an Oilers armchair GM thing to see how much money they could potentially have come this offseason.
Oh, more math stuff.
Well, I
Oh, is this on Puckpedia?
Yeah, it is on Puckpedia. So I punched in all the numbers. Okay.
Nerd.
This is like, in my opinion, the outer markers for everyone. Oilers bring everyone fucking back. So we got, except Smith. That's who I didn't sign. So like Neil is on this roster. New just signed for $6 million. Yamamoto costs you 3.75 because you give him term. Clefbaum is back. I got Barry signed for 5.1. Larson signed for $4 million in this as well. Those are all the signings I've made here. Everyone is on the roster. This is a full NHL roster with the right number of players. With all of that, the Oilers still have $3 million in cap space with all that shit being done. So then if you want to go buy out James Neal, now you have 6.8. If you buy out Mikko Koskinen, you're going to be closer to 9. If maybe you don't bring back Larson, you only bring back Tyson Barrie, you're going to have like $12 million to spend. There's a lot of money to spend on this team.
Tyler, can I tell you a joke I made today that was
Sure.
that did not go very well?
Yes.
I said somebody the Oilers should be looking at is Andreas Athanasiou out of Los Angeles. He's got 9 goals in whatever games, and boy, was that not a popular opinion.
I can't imagine why.
Gotta try to have some fun somewhere, Chalmers, for fuck's sake.
Absolutely. No, but you're the one that's not being surprised today at all. I'm just glad we wrapped up Nerd Corner with Yaremchuk over there.
The point I was making, I was just illustrating that there's a lot of money to have. There's wiggle room here for Ken Holland. That's sorry exciting. For being a fucking nerd, Chalmers. Jesus.
Hey, nerds make the world go round.
In your nerd math here, Tyler, is that did you also bring back guys like Chase on, or are you just assuming no?
I'm assuming Chase on walks. I brought back Kara for 1.2. And I brought back Turris. So again.
Oh, no. Well, we have Turris. We signed him for 2 years, didn't we?
Well, yeah, sorry. He signed. I meant like he's coming back.
But we can bury him too, though. That's the thing. We can bury him.
You save a couple $100,000.
Or maybe just like hope that he's got a fucking allergy to his equipment, because I got to tell you, I did not expect Kyle Turris to have fallen off a cliff this quickly. I just did. If you went back to Tyler, when we did like the free agency ON radio together.
Yeah.
We all were kind of like, Kyle Turris is in a better spot. He's behind Connor and Leon. No pressure to score as there was in Nashville. He'll be fine. But wow, has he not been fine?
Actually, they're probably going to buy out Kyle Turris this offseason. You can
I feel
no.
I feel like a guy like Kyle Turris, in order to get through the rigors of a regular season, a guy like Kyle Turris, he needs to be going out. He needs to be going to Joey's on Tuesday. He needs to be getting a little bit of a couple drinks in him.
What?
Maybe a little.
You think Kyle Turris needs to be drunk to contribute at the NHL level?
No, I think there's guys a la Corey Perry, a la Kyle Turris, who might thrive a little bit better when they have Tuesdays at Cook County Saloon, maybe on the calendar.
Why?
I don't think Kyle Turris is that guy. Corey Perry, yes. I don't think Kyle Turris is that guy.
Kyle Turris have young kids? Maybe just getting out of
he has like 2 young kids.
Hey, everybody, he just seems like a guy that likes to party, just like me. Now listen, could you imagine? Yes, he does.
Where is this coming from?
Nothing about Kyle Turris screams.
I'm trying
My
to
name
make
is Rod and I like to party.
Kyle Turris, and for why
Google
he fell
a picture
off
of Kyle Turris. No,
Kyle Turris looks like he should be doing it.
So soft spoken.
Okay, wait. Isn't there isn't it a known fact that back in the day in other places he used to like to get after it?
No, Kyle Turris is most likely in the NHL to become a pastor in his next career.
Kyle Turris screams chess tournament more than he screams dance floor.
Well, maybe he should be. Have you guys ever thought about what life would be like without a weekend? That's what this regular season is like for these guys. Life without a weekend. Never getting to let loose. Never getting to go to Joey's. And
Kyle Turris probably loves that.
Yeah.
He's like, thank fuck I've gotten so much sleep this year.
Pressure. Yeah.
I'm gonna Google a picture of Kyle Turris without his shirt on, and we'll see without his shirt on.
Yeah, Kyle Turris.
Is he jacked too? Is he all jacked too?
Well, no. Well, speaking of Kyle, yes, if we send him down, and what's his cap at 1.2?
1.6.
Oh,
yeah,
this guy.
We save $1 million.
Hang on.
This guy absolutely loved the segment of Yaremchuk playing quarter GM, armchair GM. This guy is nerd alert city.
That's what I'm saying. He's an accountant. He's not a party animal.
Hey, I was just throwing something at a wall.
Yeah, that was out of left field. That is that was a hit. And
sometimes you just gotta go outside the box for the reason why he was so good and used to score like hard. He used to have an amazing shot, did he not? Like,
yeah, he was sick back in the day, man. Like, there's a reason he was making $6 million at one point. Like, he's just not.
Because he ain't partying. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I don't know if I don't give a shit. Hey, do you guys want to have some fun, or you want to talk Oilers more and trade deadline? Let's talk about something else.
I googled Kyle Turris party, and it looks like the only party he's ever attended is his child's birthday party.
Yeah.
And I'll bet you he didn't. I'll bet you had a beer in his hand, because nobody does a kid's birthday without a beverage.
No, he looks like he's got a Sunday suit on, to be specific.
Speaking about beverage.
Oh, look at those fresh new Nation beer cans here. Let me grab a screen grab of that for
Nation.
I thought all Kyles like to party. Shouldn't he be running around with Monster energy drinks and like
see, that's it. You've been following
punching holes in
memes. You've been following too many memes.
Shouldn't he have his sunglasses on backwards and way too much of a tan and like tank tops on and shit?
Charles,
he's not living up to the
today,
Kyle, the Kyle's name.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, Harris, party animal.
Well, he's my new least favorite Oiler. There we go.
Yeah, you talked yourself into a hell of a circle there.
You tried to build him up. You tried to make him your favorite there.
I tried.
I respect that.
I tried to come up with reasons, but I don't know.
Kyle Turris looks like a well-shaven, cleaned up man, which ties in nicely to the fact that Manscaped is a sponsor of our podcast. Manscaped.com. Head over there.
Might not be anymore. Just kidding.
Why not?
I don't know. Because we talked
allegedly, in my opinion, Kyle Turris loves to trim his beans.
Okay. I wasn't going to go there, but sure. The Canadian special right now, you get free boxers and a toiletry bag. And if you use the promo code Real Life, you get 20% off and free shipping as well. Head to their website, manscaped.com. Do some spring cleaning with their fantastic products. Promo code Real Life. It's going to save you some money. I can say I've been using this now for months. It is good quality stuff. I love the Lawnmower 3.0. It's great. It's waterproof. Use it in the shower, all that good stuff. Manscaped.com, promo code Real Life.
The toiletry bag alone is worth the price of admission. It is beautiful leather. Like it's a really high quality. Like, if you need like a new travel bag for your toiletries, it's worth getting the Manscaped because it's a great razor, but that thing is beautiful.
Yeah. 100% Charles.
Endorsement.
Fuck you guys.
What?
I agree.
We didn't even talk about the Masters. There's got to be other stuff to talk about than Oilers.
That triple bogey on like, what was that? 16?
Unbelievable.
Man, unbelievable. I'm not a big master. Like I'm not a big golf guy to where I sit down and I'll watch a whole tournament. But I watched all of it yesterday. And
the way they do the TV coverage, like I know people are always like the Masters golf on TV is boring. It's like watching paint dry. The way the Masters does the coverage, like minimal commercials, you're seeing all the shots. Like it's good TV, man. That is good sports.
It is, but it was just like it was getting so tight down the back nine, and I was just like I was really hoping for something cool to happen, and just that triple bogey happened. It was just fuck that.
It seemed quick too. Like, they were only really focusing on maybe 5-6 golfers and then the odd shot that somebody made really like a really amazing shot or something. And it just like Corey Connors wasn't getting any love right off the bat. And I realized, like they just don't have time. This is like, it's going fast and you want to see, the top 4, top 6 guys. My takeaways from the whole thing were number one, final group of Justin Rose and Mark Leishman. Those two were just having a good time. Like
they're partying.
They weren't winning and they were just having a good time. You could tell they were friends. They were laughing, hucking it up. It's what like a final day at the Masters should be for two guys who probably don't have a chance to win. My other takeaway was the best part of the whole weekend for me. And the fact that when Hideki Matsuyama wins it, I go back to his interview after the break. Did you guys see that they had
so good
77-minute pause for a rain delay? And Jim Nance goes into this long, a lot of guys go after, during a delay like that, they go and they get some food, they walk around, Faldo's saying what he did. They ask Hideki Matsuyama what he did. His interpreter spends about 30 seconds interpreting it. You get Hideki's answer. And it was, I sat in my car and I played on my cell phone. It was that type of introspection that made me understand why this guy was going to be a great champion. And like, you're probably not getting the personality from a guy like him, but, seeing his caddy bow at the end, it was very cool knowing that 10 years to the day on the Saturday, he won low amateur at his very first ever Masters. The fact that he's doing it for a golf crazy country like Japan, I mean, there's a lot to like about it, even though you didn't get the personality that might come along with an American, a Canadian, a European Masters champ, just because he's not speaking the language, right?
Did you see the picture of him at the airport? Just sitting there with the green jacket, like draped over a chair, like on his phone, like the most chill guy.
fly-in commercial, 6:45 in the morning, which means he clearly wasn't hungover, which means he didn't probably celebrate the way most guys would.
So you don't like him?
Yeah, I like partiers. I do. But hey, listen, I respect the guy that just quietly goes about your business. And like, I didn't think that two guys could run backwards, upside down shades on the back of your hat, you know, for 18 straight holes. But they did it. They did it, and he won. And you know,
they did it.
They did it. Well, his caddy had him on.
Not only that, I noticed the shades on the back of the hat. I too noticed that, Chalmers, and I also noticed those things must be real tight on the head when he's wearing them too. Because when he took the hat off, at any point, it stayed right there.
Yeah,
impressive.
Yeah, I really like Xander Schauffele too. I got to say that he's probably becoming one of my favorite golfers on the tour, just because when you see him put it in the water on 8, a lot of guys would show disrespect, you know, just like, you know, like Jordan Spieth. I like him when he talks because he's funny, but I don't like when guys like Billy Horschel are slamming their putt. That Siwoo Kim who broke his putter in the second round.
Yeah, but that was funny.
It was funny, but you look at the guy and you're like, what a knob, right? You're like in contention, and now you're gonna have to putt with your 3-wood and have to go find a new putter that night. Like one.
Is that how that works?
Yeah,
he putted a whole round with his 3-wood because he snapped his putter.
He did it on 16, so he only had to putt 2 holes. So, you know, but like Billy Horschel being in the water on 13 for 2 straight days and having to go, you know, roll his pants up to his knees. I mean, there was some good portions of the Masters, but what I took away from Xander Schauffele was the dude is just a good guy. And he put that ball in the water on 16 and just put his head down. He knew it wasn't going to be his year. And like, he just quietly took it.
Oh, I was really pulling for him. I had 20 bucks on him at 550 to 1.
I was too. There was also what's that guy's name? The clitoris. I could never find him.
Will Zalatoris.
Just like that. His putt on 18, man, it was great. Just like
that was clutch.
He from another area code, and he sinks it to keep himself in contention for
he had like 4 3-putts that day, man. That could have been his tournament too. Like that was a good story. That guy.
He definitely won golf social media over the weekend with the looking just like the caddy from Happy Gilmore, and then finding out, I don't know if this is true, and this might be me getting fooled by it, but that he has like a stamped wedge that's him. Yeah.
That's
okay,
legit.
yeah. Like
Adam Sandler even tweeted as Happy Gilmore.
Mr. Gilmore, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that guy. And to think like, so I don't know if you guys know this, but every single golf tournament throughout the year, the golf course supplies you with a caddy book. It's basically every undulation, it's every distance, it's thick. You see them in their back of their pockets, and these things are intensive. Well, the Masters doesn't do that. These caddies have to go out for like 3 or 4 days before and make their own, basically. And so there's something to be said for guys that play the Masters like every year, veterans, guys. And for Will Zalatoris, this was his rookie showing at the Masters. And to be able to like play the course and kind of figure out the course, it just shows a lot, man. I think that guy's got a really bright future.
That's interesting because I didn't know the book thing. Because as I was watching the final round yesterday, I kept being like, I wonder what they're writing down in there, because it seems like they were putting some healthy notes in over and above just marking a score. So I would love to see what those guys are writing down.
Oh man, so like even in junior tournaments, they used to supply them to us, and it's just like basically showing you every like a green and how it, I guess for lack of a better word,
how many paces off the back and from the left and.
Yeah, it shows it all. So for them not to give it is just like a huge power move by the Masters, by Augusta, you know, just to be like, hey, come figure it out. We're not doing this shit for you.
I saw some guy on Instagram who was explaining the process of how the Masters could make an estimated profit of $230 million a year if they fully opened up to advertising and things like that, but they don't. And if they wanted to like maximize their TV deal, like if they took every step with nothing more than profit in mind, they can make $230 million a year, and they only make about $30 million a year. I know only is like.
Did you see the concession menu? It's like 1940s pricing.
You know, they're the quintessential brand. They're the quintessential brand that won't do anything to harm their brand. Yeah. Like they're going to keep it as classy and as exclusive as possible, and that's why, you know, even on like they are the ones that dictate what every single like TV screen is going to look like, where, you know, you have the score, like they have their hands in all that. Nothing can ruin that brand from the outside, and they keep it really exclusive.
Yeah. 100%.
I love it. I love it. It's like the Masters is like the kickoff to spring to me. You know, golf is just around the corner. Like the baseball season's like picking up. Hockey's getting into the playoffs. So is basketball. You know, we're getting into that playoff run. You know what I mean? Like it's I love those little pinpointed times in, you know, it's like a timestamp of every year. You know what I mean? Like this is definitely one of them that I have.
Well, it was nice to see like early Oilers game ends, you know, last week when they were on the Eastern road trip, and then you just flip a Jays game on or something, you know, there's just sports on all the time. It's great.
Yeah, it is great.
You're right. Can't believe we didn't get Hall. Just can't believe it.
I have my first tee time of the year booked. I am very excited. I'm going.
Where are you playing at?
Next Sunday. I got a tee time at Sandpiper.
Nice.
Yeah, we play Thursday, Charles.
Well, if it opens, our golf course is supposed to open on Thursday, and we were going to play Thursday and then Saturday. But I don't know, man. If they still open it, we're playing. I'm playing.
What time's your tee time?
We don't have one yet. You can't make them until 2 days before. It's kind of a ballot system. Yeah.
So you guys are touch and go for the pod.
Oh shit.
Here's what I'll say. If you let me golf with you, maybe even just one time this year, I can bring the equipment and we can do like a live at the course episode of Real Life.
Well, what we're going to do actually is we'll get us together and we'll get Josh Park and we'll go play around together and shoot like an afternoon golf video.
Some would call it an expose.
Well, I don't know what we're exposing, but more of like
what us on the golf course. What aren't we exposing? How awesome we are to golf with?
What are we going to expose?
Hang on. I also, speaking of exposing, Chalmers,
what?
Are you trying to get a head start on the old disc golf tournament here? I noticed you bought a set yesterday. What the fuck
yes,
that about?
I didn't go to the store strictly for it. My son's starting to play some pretty competitive baseball, and the amount of stuff that we need for that is abundant. And so I had to go to the store that I bought this stuff. United selling them. We like United around here, don't we? Yeah, we love United.
They're sponsoring the disc golf tournament.
They are. So you know where they put them to just to get me? Right at the till. I was standing there paying for everything, and I took a look to the right, and I just saw these sets. They had a reasonable price, and I thought to myself, why not? What if I want to go chuck these in a field? I might just go set up a stick and just start hucking them in my neighborhood field here.
Well, that's what I'm concerned about. I feel like you're having an unfair advantage already having the equipment in your possession.
Nobody said we had to. Nobody said we all had to start the day we started.
I am not allowing somebody to get a running start.
Well, then consider this your kick in the ass. Go to United Cycle. Go to the till. They have them right there. I think they're $34.99 for 3, which is a lot better than what we were finding on Amazon that day. I'll tell you what.
Bargains.
They are. And there's a driver, a long iron, or a driver, an iron, and a putter in that kit.
Interesting. Huh. All right. Well, I guess I'm going to have to acquire a disc golf set then. Can't be letting this shit happen.
Hey, if you're not first, you're last, boys. If you're not first, you are last.
My plan for the disc golf tournament is to not practice once and win to like really assert my dominance.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Well, that's not going to happen.
Wow. The arrogance.
Hey, I just want to ask you guys this, Tyler. I know you're probably going to drive me crazy and you want to wrap this up, but on Oilersnation Radio last week, I think this would be hilarious to ask Jay and Chalmers. We had a conversation about standing in the batter's box for a like major league level pitch.
No.
No, I'd do it.
Dude,
I'd do it too, but what's the question?
I just want to know.
Am I hitting it? No.
Well, we were talking about what pitch you think, if any, you could make contact with. So the reason I say this is Tyler let us know that we have Eric Sabrowski, who is a Nation fan, he's in the Padres organization, correct?
Yeah. He listens to like pretty much every podcast.
What? Really?
Yeah, me and him played ball. I think we were on the same team one year, but we know each other from like playing ball growing up and shit.
So my thought is next time he's in Edmonton, for whatever reason, there should be an opportunity where we get to stand, because he is a pitcher, correct?
Yeah.
So we get to stand in there and see what that looks like.
What would you say would be his max out velocity?
Mid 90s, I think. Mid to low 90s, somewhere in there.
If you've sat in a ball cage, so they used to have batters cages over at like White Mud Park, or even the last time I was in a batting cage, the thing was going 80 and it was a zip. I hardly even saw it.
Well, that's what started the whole conversation. Is I was talking about how last time I was in a batting cage, you hit it at a certain level, to whatever, at least you're making contact. But then I cranked it up to 90 and the fucking thing was hitting the backstop before I even had the bat off my shoulder.
It pisses.
So with a pitching machine, you don't have the, I know that the person dropping in the ball is going to show it to you and then drop it, but you don't have the ability to actually see the windup, because I believe that if this guy pitched to us, we would have to start our swing basically when he was just about to let go of the ball.
That's what I would think.
Oh yeah.
100%. I don't think that any of us, we could probably all stand in for 10 pitches, and I'll bet you one person fouls maybe one or two away, and I don't think the rest of us even touch him.
See, that's what I was wondering. If any contact was being made in this scenario, because I looked it up. It looks
by
like
accident.
He's got the heater.
Yes.
It looks like he's got a nice curve from what I could see.
Yeah, he does.
Like, I would also love to be there and just standing there in the batter's box and see a curve come way from outside and then cut across. Be awesome.
So we talked about before this pod even started, Yaremchuk had asked me how my kid's sports was going, and we are right into baseball now. And one of my oldest son is actually playing a little bit of a competitive division. He's playing rep this year. He made it as an underage, or not an underage, a first year, which I'm really proud of. But it's like new world for him. And Yaremchuk is a history of ball playing in his bloodline there. And so he could really, help out some of these kids if he was to ever come. And look, now you can come, but you got to bring this guy, man, one day in the summer.
I have to bring Eric.
Show my 10 and 11 year olds. Let them see, just that would be amazing for them. That would be crazy. Cause they're like at 11 years old. I guess I was even surprised at the first practice, just how good some of these kids can be. Like, they're throwing hard with accuracy. They've all got their baseball pants with their belt and their, high top cleats. They look like ball players, and they're starting to like really play like ball players. It's really exciting. It's a lot of fun. I might sound like an over anxious dad here, but like, ball was just house league ball. It was a lot of fun, but it was just not that competitive. And this, after 3 practices, I'm like, this is a whole new world, and it's a lot of fun.
Speaking of competitive, if we ever get this chance with Eric to stand in the batter's box and see what this looks like, we definitely need to have some bets on the board here.
Yeah.
My bet, it's 0. We all go 0-4.
Yeah. If I can even foul one, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I just want to make any kind of
guys
contact.
Would foul one. I don't think
I know.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either, but I'm just saying, like, if I could, like, that's hitting a home run.
I have the type of confidence that Yaremchuk would have to think he'd be good at disc golf after never throwing a disc before. I have that kind of confidence, but I know damn well if I stood in there, I'm not hitting a thing. I'm probably not. If you filmed it and slow-moed it, I'm probably coming around with that bat when that ball's already falling off of whatever it hit from behind me. Like, I won't even be close.
I'm gonna hear the sizzle as it flies by. Then I'll swing.
Yeah.
The real question would be, who do we get to catch this? Because I think we'd have a hard time finding somebody to catch this. What would essentially be a glorified bullpen?
Yeah, I think you just need to let the fence stop that.
Well, yeah, but you probably, for him, he needs like to have a catcher to have something to aim at. Yeah.
Well, so
Tyler, you're in.
This forwards a conversation about my kids' ball, but I'm one of the assistant coaches. I'm helping out, and so I was running the pitching session, and to give the kids a target, one of the coaches, me, has to stand in there, right? I got black and blue ankles right now. Like, it's hard to get out of the way. They're throwing pretty quick from 44 feet. Like, I'm trying to jump these things, but hey, they catch me every once in a while. So no, the answer is I would never. You could put me in full knight's armor and I'm not standing to catch a fucking ball this guy throws at me.
I used to like umpire like peewee and bantam baseball for a few years, and there would be nothing worse than you'd go to like a house league game where the catcher is dog shit, but there's the one pitcher who's fucking good, and he's like zipping them in there like decent, and you have to stand there as the ump knowing this like dumbass catcher below you like won't catch a fucking thing, and you're basically just like sitting there getting hit all the time, and it's like, fuck me, man. One, you're like pissed at the kid below you because he's not catching the ball. You're like mad at the coach because you're like, why? You have no one else who can play catcher right now. That was the worst part. Like,
be honest. Would you call the game differently? Because the more strikes you call, the less the less pitches you're going to have to feel in your chest and in your legs.
Not so much that, but the one thing I hated was when the little catchers who are like 12, 13 years old, they think they're so sneaky when the pitch is like way up top and then they grab it and snap it into the zone, but it's like so obvious. And then like you don't call it a strike, but they'll like hold their glove there. And that's when I'd get mad. And I'd be like, you know what? If you think I'm that stupid that I'm going to call the pitch that was like 3 feet above the zone because you brought your glove in and held it for 3 seconds, I'm like, you're not getting the close ones now, man. You've ruined your relationship with me.
That's the classic. You saw that on TV and you got to
Yeah.
I never thought there was a way for him to out nerd himself on the first section until I found out that he was an umpire.
Man.
Oh, just kidding.
Okay. So there was nothing better. I did it when I kind of stopped when I was 19 because like the money by that point when I could actually go and get a real job wasn't worth it. But like there were times when I was 17 where you'd go do a game and you'd be the only ump. So you get both pay or you'd get pay and a half, depending what level you're doing. I'd go sit there. A team would get mercied 11-0 in 4 innings. I'd be there for an hour and a half and I'd make $90. It was sick. Yeah, it was an unreal job for a 17-year-old.
I'm sure you have enough stories about getting just berated though by overbearing parents.
There was one time we could do like a whole episode on my umpire stories of like what I got into with parents. There's one time I'm umping by myself and there's a storm coming in, but it's coming from behind home plate. So I can't see it. And then some mom was yelling like, there's lightning, there's lightning. So I called both coaches over after the inning. I said, listen, you guys, I cannot see what's going on behind me. If I had a partner, he would be able to see the lightning and call the game. I was like, so I need you guys to be on your toes. And if there's lightning, please tell me and we'll call the game or we'll take like a 20-minute break, right? And both coaches were like, yeah, if we think it gets too close, we will absolutely let you know. So anyways, the next inning goes on and this mom the whole time is just going. Just, there's lightning. You're putting my kids at risk. Call the game, ump. Do your job. Blah, 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 blah. So again, I go to both coaches and I'm like, listen, I don't know whose mom that is there, but one of you needs to go tell her to be quiet and that we have this handled. And both coaches, yeah, okay, we'll look into it. I'm sitting there again next inning and she's fucking going. So finally I turned around and I said, I told both coaches, if they want this called, we can call it. You can go sit in your car or take your kid out, but you're not yelling anymore. And then she kind of was like, oh, and like hums off. And then after the game, I'm getting changed in the like back gate of my truck. And she fucking comes over to me while I'm like getting changed. Yeah, and she was like, and she gives me the whole, like, you know, I was not being disrespectful and I didn't want to be disrespectful, but you're putting kids' safety at risk. You know that. And I was like, fuck, I was just like, I don't care. And she like came to my car to give me shit.
You don't care about kids' safety?
How long did you do it for, Tyler?
The umpiring? Like 3 or 4.
I don't even know how you did it that long. Well, there was a couple of summers in a row where one of my buddy's parents threw a big 3-on-3 hockey tournament. Mm-hmm. And it was like, 10 to 12-year-olds or something like that. So there were kids. So he would ask people that played on his teams to come ref because it was 3-on-3. You didn't need like legit ref. So I would go ref every year for just some extra money for the summer. And man, getting yelled at about making a wrong call when a kid is like 11 years old is a special kind of annoying, isn't it? It's just like, fuck me, really? Okay, whatever. So I don't know how you did it that long.
And I found like as I got a little, like when I did games when I was like 18 and 19 versus like 16 and 17, you learn how to like get respect from coaches a little bit. And like in the plate meeting before, you kind of give them the whole like, listen, I want the kids to play. I want the kids to have fun. My strike zone is big, like giddy up, tell the kids to swing the bat. We'll have a good time. And like you can usually calm them down from the start if you just be a good guy. I remember once I had to call a game. There was a time limit in a tournament. An inning could not start after 2 hours and an inning couldn't start after 2 hours and 15 minutes. That was the time limit. So this guy's team is down by like 6 runs. We're about to go into the last inning. The official scorekeeper says, hey, it's been 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I go, okay, game's done. Like we can't start another inning. And this coach loses it. He comes over and he's showing me his wristwatch. And he's like, look, I have 45 seconds right now. We should be able to start this inning. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, man.
How do you argue? If you're willing to run over to a 16-year-old ump and get in his face about something like that, how does one argue that? Because you cannot argue with either crazy or like just out of line.
I was like, the official scorekeeper wrote down the start time. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
like, this is a joke. You just want to go home early. And I was like, well, I kind of did want to go home. It had been 2 hours and 15 minutes. But also like, dude, why do you think I give it? Like, I'm not trying to screw your team out of a game.
I'm
like,
the guy that literally is in charge of keeping the rules, of like making sure everybody plays by the rules. And you're asking me to not do that. My thing would be, honestly, like, for any parents listening and you know, like that do that kind of stuff, you never make a difference. You never, ever, ever make a difference. There's only two things that you do. And one is you embarrass yourself. And number two is you embarrass your child, which is even worse. Go and fucking embarrass yourself. Nobody cares. If you're acting like that, you're probably the person standing by yourself because nobody's hanging with you anyways. If you're embarrassing your kid, though, that's making the other kids on the team look at him or her and it's not good, man. It's not something you want to be doing to a kid at that age. So don't fucking do it. I hate parents like that.
Also, I think of it like Gregor brings up this point all the time. Kids in minor sports should have to officiate games at some point, because I think the perspective from a lot of these parents would really change if they had to go watch their kid umpire a baseball game or ref a hockey game. And if they sat in the crowd and heard the abuse their kid took as the ref, I guarantee you a lot of parents would change their tune when they're watching their own kids.
Maybe.
Surveyor Brett, if you're listening to this, I'm still fucking pissed at you for a lot of reasons. But for the most part, youth sports officials.
Surveyor Brett.
All right.
Okay, let's wrap this up. We've been going for a while now. We got
Lastly, just to wrap it up,
we
Tyler,
didn't get Hall. Get over it.
52 points now. If the Oilers get 7 and 14 wins, that's an additional 14 points for 66 points.
Yeah. And then that means the Canucks would need 31 points in their final 19, which is a record of 15-3-1 just to tie the Oilers. They would have to go 16-2-1 to pass them.
It's not the Oilers they're chasing. It's the Canadiens.
Well, that's if the Oilers go 500.
Yeah.
A lot of ifs.
You're gonna have people in Canucks land being like, well, if the Oilers only win 2 of their next 20,
fuck yeah, there you go.
And we go 500, we might have a chance.
Jay still thinks the Canucks are in it. Episode 272 of the Real Life Podcast. Trade deadline talk, the Masters, a whole bunch of nonsense jammed into this one. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out to Oodle Noodle, Twig and Berries, where the promo code is Nation15, Manscaped, where the promo code is Real Life. Check them both out. Support the Nation. Also, there's new Nation beer cans. They look sexy, if I might say so myself. Thanks for tuning in. This episode's over.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from.